Hello and welcome to the Drawhunter. I'm your charming host, Kevin Cleary, and this is the only soccer gambling podcast where we don't pick any winners. We hunt for the result that pays better, the draw. I like to bet the draw because draws happen a lot. 30% of all pro matches end in a draw. That's across all leagues and international competitions, year after year, season after season. So why not try to figure out when and where they will occur? Make more money and or don't let your win bet get burned on you too. Because soccer bets at a sportsbook are settled on results after regulation time, which is 90 minutes plus stoppage time, unless otherwise stated on very, very rare occasions. So if a game goes into overtime or penalty kicks, that doesn't apply to our draw bet and we win. So we're looking for the matches that are the hidden value draws where the market is pricing outcomes too heavily towards the favorites or volatility. These are the games where parity pays off for us. And even if you want to bet on winners, and I don't see anything wrong with that, running down the games through this kind of perspective is still a very valuable handicapping tool. And if you're listening to the Drawhunter podcast, you're already ahead of the curve, so congratulations. New episodes of this show drop twice a week, Mondays for all the midweek action, like today, and Thursdays for the weekend slate. Please subscribe to our show at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you have any questions, comments, or picks of your own to share, email us at drawhunterpodcast@gmail.com. First, we dive into last episode's winners. We had a few interesting draws that occurred out of the slate of games that we picked last Thursday. FC Augsburg versus Union Berlin in the Bundesliga ended 1-1, and that paid off for us. Down in Brazil, Botafogo SP and Noroeste paid off for us also, 1-1. That was a nice draw there. In AFCON has been paying off for us the entire tournament, and Senegal versus Morocco was 0-0 after 90. Senegal wound up winning it in extra time, but our draw bet was a nice win there, and I think it was plus 260. And then over in Serie A in Italy, Parma versus Genoa ended 0-0, almost exactly like I said in the show on Thursday. And there's a lot of Champions League and Europa League action this week. A lot of fun stuff across Europe and around the world. So let's analyze all of our draw contenders right after this very quick message from the SantaBarbaraMint.com. The SantaBarbaraMint.com offers a collection of the finest limited edition and one-of-a-kind collectibles from the coolest franchises in entertainment. Your favorite TV, movies, video games, comic books, science fiction. It's all there in the vaults at the SantaBarbaraMint.com. Use code DRAWHUNTER at checkout for a one-time 20% off your entire purchase, not just one item. Everything you get there, your whole purchase. They have a lot of cool stuff. SantaBarbaraMint.com. Use code DRAWHUNTER. Save that 20%. Now let's get into the games and the picks. These fixtures combine low scoring averages, balanced possession rates, injury disruptions, historical draw frequency, and market pricing that combine to give contrarian value to the draw bets that we like to make. These games that I'm about to talk about are taking place January 20th, 21st, and 22nd, 2026. And we're going to start off in the UEFA Champions League on Tuesday, the 20th. We've got a game between Inter and Arsenal. This game is taking place in Milan, Italy. It's a home game for Inter, and they are a 170 underdog, I'm going to say, because Arsenal is an away plus 160 favorite. So you've got 170 plus 170 versus plus 160. The draw is plus 230. And these teams match up really well here. We've got Inter has a ball possession rate of 56%. Arsenal has a ball possession rate of 54%. In this current tournament, the Champions League tournament this year, Inter has scored 12 goals and allowed 4 goals to be scored on them. Arsenal has scored 17 goals and allowed 1 goal to be scored on them. The last game between these two teams was 1-0. They're historically cagey when they meet. Both are elite, tactically disciplined teams. And this screams a respect game. Two high-level sides, both comfortable with a 1-1 first leg and backing themselves at home in the return. Inter's control versus Arsenal's press can cancel out into a stalemate if neither manager overcommits on the pitch. And that's why they're on the list today. So let's go up to Scotland in the Scottish Premiership League. We've got Livingston versus St. Mirren. And this is a home game for Livingston. And they are plus 185 underdog at home, whereas St. Mirren is actually the favorite in this game at plus 145. The draw is plus 210. If you look at the ball possession rates between these two teams, they match up very well. Livingston is at 46%. St. Mirren is at 45%. Livingston has scored 21 goals this season in the league, but they've allowed 41 goals, so they're way underwater. St. Mirren has scored 16 goals in the league this year, but they've allowed 30. So they're both kind of double underwater. Not great. They can score, but boy, are they really good at conceding, both of them. In the head-to-head history between these two teams, though, that's really one of the reasons why we're here for this game today. 8 of the last 16 games between these two teams ended in a draw. Recent league meetings between the two include multiple low-scoring games. 1-1, 0-1 type results are very, very common, but 50% of the games between these two teams have ended in a draw going back like the last 4 or 5 years. Both sides are low margin, low scoring. Livingston have drawn several games recently, including a 1-1 versus Kilmarnock and Dundee. Kilmarnock and Livingston Dundee, they were both games that we called on this show over the last couple of weeks. So bet your win bet very cautiously if you're going to do that on that game this week. Now let's go up into the Championship League in England, where we've got Swansea City versus the Blackburn Rovers. And this is a home game at Swansea, at swansea.com stadium. And Swansea is the favorite. They're plus 120. Blackburn Rovers are plus 245. The draw is plus 215. Swansea's got the ball about 54% of the time during a game. Blackburn's got it about 49% of the time during a game. But take a look at these goals scored and goals allowed numbers. 28 goals scored for Swansea, 24 goals scored for Blackburn, 34 goals allowed for Swansea, 33 goals allowed for Blackburn. So they're very, very similarly structured teams on their offense and their defense. 3 out of the last 12 games between these two teams were draws, which is just kind of statistically average at that 25%. Swansea's a strong team at home, but Blackburn's recent profile is very draw heavy. They've got 6 draws in their last 10 games. And you combine that with Swansea's tendency to play controlled, lower scoring games, and the draw is super attractive here, even with Swansea's head-to-head slight edge in their last 12 games. And those are Tuesday's games. So now let's go over to Wednesday's games, where we go back to the UEFA Champions League. And we have a game between Atalanta and Athletic Club. And this is a game between two of the great teams from Italy and Spain combining here. We've got the home game is in Bergamo, Italy for Atalanta. They are minus 109 at home. Athletic Club is plus 320 as an away underdog. The draw is plus 245. But ball possession rates, they're very close. 48% for Atalanta, 44% for Athletic. Goals scored in this tournament alone, we're just focusing on Champions League goals this season. Atalanta is scored 8 and allowed 6. Athletic has scored 4 and allowed 9. Head-to-head, there's not too much in their head-to-head play because they're very rare meetings. They have not really played much, and we're going to see a lot of that in some of these Champions League and Europa League games this week. These are two high work rate, high press sides that can cancel each other out. Both of them are comfortable grinding out long midfield phases as a very solid draw candidate. And early on in the Champions League play here with these two-way knockout games, they're more than happy to take a point each and then see what happens in the second game. In Juventus versus Benfica up next, which is a home game for Juventus in Turin, Italy. They're the home favorite at 120. Benfica, wow, is plus 250. You don't see that happening very often for Benfica when they're playing a game. The draw is also plus 250. Ball possession rates are almost identical here. Juve has it 49% of the time. Benfica has it about 48% of the time. Juve score a little bit more in the current tournament than the Champions League. They've scored 12. They've allowed 10. Benfica's scored 6. They've allowed 8. 2 out of the last 5 games between these two teams ended in a draw. Both teams are very structured, risk-averse, and comfortable in a 1-1 first leg also, taking the points. I think this is actually one of the best draw spots on the board. So now let's go back to the Championship League in England for games on Wednesday. We've got Stoke City versus Middlesbrough. Stoke-on-Trent is the location for this game. Stoke is the home team. Plus 260. The away team is plus 260 also here. You don't see that very often, but that's telling you something. The draw is plus 260 also. So where are we here, right? I mean, come on. Stoke has got the ball about 54% of the time. Burrow's at 57%. Stoke has scored 32 goals this season while they've allowed 23. Burrow has scored 40 goals this season while they've allowed 28. So they both know how to score, but they both know how to concede here too. These guys head-to-head history, 40%. 4 out of the last 10 games were draws between these two teams. The market sees this as dead even, rate-wise, odds-wise, and this matchup supports it. They're a very strong draw candidate for us. And now we're going to go across the world down to Brazil for their Paulista Serie A1 country tournament. Where we've got Mirassol versus RB Bragantino. This is a home game for Mirassol in Sao Paulo. They're plus 120. The draw is plus 205, and Bragantino is plus 210. Ball possession rates, again, have matched up very well here. 52% and 53%. Mirassol has it 52% of the time. Bragantino has it 53% of the time. Goals scored, 4 and 4 for Mirassol. They have scored 4 and they've allowed 4. Bragantino's much better. They've scored 9 and they have allowed 0. 2 out of the last 4 games between these two teams ended in a draw. And Mirassol are one of the best draw teams in the country. Bragantino often start the Paulista tournament very slowly. So that's what that's what we're counting on here, to bang out another draw for us on Wednesday down in Brazil. And that's the Wednesday game. So now let's go to Thursday, where we're going back up to the UEFA. Only it's the Europa League on Thursday, and we've got PAOK versus Real Betis, and this is taking place in Greece as a home game for PAOK. They are plus 270. Real Betis is plus 260. The draw is plus 300. These are early odds, so as always, check your odds, find or shop around for good odds if you can. Everybody's a little bit different with some of these payouts. Ball possession rates, PAOK has it 49% of the time. Betis is 52% of the time. They're very equal there. Goals scored, 13 for PAOK, 11 for Betis. Goals allowed, 10 for PAOK and only 4 for Betis. So PAOK is a little bit better at conceding some goals. But Betis is also missing a couple of midfielders in this game as far as the injury report goes. But this is a very classic Europa League grinder. PAOK at home are very disciplined, and Betis away tend to slow the game down a little bit. Both teams prefer a structured buildup and long spells of cautious possession, making this a very strong draw profile for us this week. Staying in the Europa League on Thursday, we've got Brann versus Midtjylland, and this one's taking place in Bergen, Norway. The home team is plus 205. That's Brann. Midtjylland is the away team, and they are the favorite here at plus 125. The draw is plus 250. Ball possession rates are close enough. Braun is at 46%. Midland is at 52%. And in the current tournament, Braun has scored 6 goals and allowed 7. Midland has scored 13 goals but allowed 5. Head-to-head history between these two teams, there is none. They have never played before. But they are two very evenly matched Nordic-style teams. They're structured, they're physical, and they're comfortable in low-tempo phases. So this is another one of my favorite draw spots on the board this week. Staying again in the Europa League, we've got Celta Vigo versus Lille. Nice classic Spanish versus French league action here. The home team, Celta's plus 135. Lille is plus 195. The draw is plus 240. Very attractive price. Ball possession rates, we've got Celta at 53%. Lille is at 58% in this tournament this year. Celta's scored 12 goals. They've allowed nine goals scored. Lille has scored 10 goals. They've allowed 7. They're very close there. Lille, I think, is missing an attacker in their injury report for this game, potentially. We'll know more closer to the day. Celta at home are very cagey and low scoring. Lille away are very compact and patient. And that makes this one a strong 1-to-1 candidate if you like playing exact score bets. I also think this is a great game for the under if you like betting overs and unders. And our last game in the Europa League for this episode, we've got Ferencváros versus Panathinaikos. And this one's taking place in Hungary. It's a home game in Budapest for Fere. And they are plus 130. Pan is plus 205. The draw is plus 235. Fere is 46%. Pan is 54% in ball possession rates. Fere is 11 goals scored, 6 allowed in the current tournament. Pan is 9 goals scored, 7 allowed in the current tournament. This is another classic Europa League chess match. Okay, both teams are very possession-oriented. They both defend very well, and both are very comfortable with a 1-to-1 first leg, taking the points and moving on and seeing what happens next. And those are the games for the midweek action this week, the week of the January 20th. I've got a top 4 for you this week. Out of I think we just did 11 games, something like that. My first pick on the top 4 picks for this midweek action would be the PAOK versus Real Betis Europa League game. My second would be the Atalanta versus Athletic Club in the Champions League. Neither team wants to lose the first leg of that, so they'll take a draw there. Then number 3, I like that Inter versus Arsenal Champions League game. Again, 2 elite disciplined sides who respect each other's structure. You've got risk aversion in a game like that I think can come into play. And then 4th, I think I like that Celta Vigo versus Lille Europa League game. Again, Celta at home are super cagey and low scoring. Lille away are compact and patient, and that makes them a perfect target for us to hunt. So that's it for this episode of The Drawhunter. I'm still your charming host, Kevin Cleary. As I said earlier, new episodes drop twice a week, Mondays, like this one, for all the midweek action, Thursdays for the weekend slate. Once again, please subscribe to our show. You can do it at Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts. And again, if you have any questions, comments, or complaints, email us at drawhunterpodcast@gmail.com. From the entire Drawhunter team, thank you for listening. And remember, there's no stopping it. Draws will happen. Gambling involves risk. Please gamble responsibly. This show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. No guarantees are made regarding results or financial gain. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. You must be of legal age to participate in gambling activities. Check your local laws and regulations before placing any bets. This podcast was made by humans.